Okay. Hello, everybody. What's up, you guys? Sorry about that. Welcome back to Discovering Nicole. That would be me, Discovering Nicole. So, what we're going to do today is this is our recovery support group meeting. It's supposed to start at 7, but I had a patient call me that I needed to talk to for a little bit. Today we're going to be talking about how to navigate early recovery. So if you're somebody who's been sober for a really long time and you want to come and hang out, maybe leave some suggestions while I'm sharing with everybody, that would be cool too. Or just show support to people that are in early recovery. Come on and hang out with us, okay? I gotta wash my hands because I was just eating an orange and it was sticky. But we're gonna, I have some tips and tricks and some little things that helped me stay sober when I first got sober. And these are things that any person can do. You ain't gotta be a rocket scientist or anything like that. And I think it'll really benefit you guys to be here to listen to it, okay? We also went live earlier and I did a little makeup look with you guys, as you can see on my face right now. And so what I want to do is there's this eyeshadow that I want to put on my inner corner, but I got to find it while I'm talking to you guys. So anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about, how to navigate early recovery. So don't be shy. Come on in. That's so pretty. It's like a blue color. Don't be shy. Come on in. Don't be shy. Come on in. When I first got sober, you guys, the first thing I did was go and find myself a whole bunch of recovery support, okay? Because I knew that I could not do this alone. I knew from past experiences of me trying to do recovery alone, and I, failed many times for trying to get sober. And so having a support network is really, really important. And that is actually one of the best things that can help you, is having other people who know what you're going through, who understand that you can relate to and talk to. So, oh shoot. Sorry, y'all. Didn't mean to throw y'all on the ground like that. Let me get my pen and my piece of paper. Oops, because I like to take little notes and stuff while I'm writing. And then we'll get started, okay? So let's do this. I got my addiction book that I can read out of, and we can learn some stuff too. Okay? Okay. Huh. Is that not charging? That's weird. Okay. All right. Any want for food, and I take a normal nest. Hey, Gabe, what's up? You're not hungry on Suboxone? My husband lost weight on subs too. Just make sure you're eating enough to at least eat some stuff so you're so you don't get sick or anything. But if you're not hungry, I totally understand. Don't have to eat everything. Just try to eat enough to keep yourself healthy. Okay. Let's do this. All right, so first and foremost, how long have you guys been sober? Everybody in the comments, please tell me when you got sober and how long you've been sober. And so that way I can see what I'm dealing with here. I got sober in July of 2015. It was the middle of July. My son had gotten taken away from me by Child Protective Services. It was awful. I was so afraid. I felt so alone. And I thought I was never going to get my son back. And I thought I would never see my son. It was a really, really hard thing to deal with. And stay sober, But I made it. So thank you, Jesus. One of the hardest things that was for me when I was in early recovery, we talked about this earlier, was my emotions and just feeling all these different tidal waves of emotions come over me because of all the things that I had done in my active addiction. And I was starting to really process through those things and realize, like, damn, man, I made a lot of really bad mistakes, you know? If you guys don't mind, please share this video, like the video, and invite your friends. Share the video, like the video, and invite your friends, okay? So let's start out with, right now, let's start out with your first thought when you're going to get sober. So let's say you've been doing drugs for 15 years and you're sitting at the house with all your drug buddies and you're like, man, I just don't want to live this life anymore. I want to make a change. This is bullshit, right? So that first, decision is, you being tired of living that life, right? Getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's something that, it catapults us into wanting to make change. All right? So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's good. That's where you need to be. For me, whenever I decided that I wanted to get sober, it was kind of something that was forced on me because I had my son taken away. It wasn't something that I knew I wanted to be sober. I had been trying for years. But having my child taken away from me really catapulted me into the thought process and the willingness to get sober. And that's when I put myself into treatment. You don't necessarily have to go into inpatient treatment. Everybody is different. Some people go into inpatient. Some people just do outpatient. Some people just do AA and NA meetings. Some people just do therapy and maybe church or something like that, or workout. But whatever you do, you got to do something. So now that you're sober and you're in recovery, what are you going to do with your life? How do you stay sober? How do you navigate the first 6 months to 1 year of your sobriety? Okay, so in my experience, the first 6 months to a year is crucial, right? It's like I feel like the most change that happens, is that big change whenever you're going from being strung out to being sober, So the first thing I did, and I'm going to make notes, okay? The first thing I did was I looked for a mentor, okay? A mentor or a sponsor. It depends on if you're wanting to do a 12-step program or not. If you want to do a 12-step program, what I would do is I would look for somebody in that program who has what you want. Someone who is living the dream, right? Someone who has a job, someone who is sober, someone who is working with another sponsor that's sponsoring them that's sober, somebody that has their kids back in their life, in their home, they have their shit together. And that's who I would ask. I would walk up to them and I would say, hey, I want what you have. Will you sponsor me? Okay, if you don't want to do AA or NA, then I call it an accountability partner, okay, or a mentor, all right? So, finding somebody that you can relate to, that can help you on your sober journey and help you stay accountable is so important, you guys, because one of the things that us drug addicts and alcoholics can do, well, anybody can do this in general, sorry, y'all, is we can basically answer our own selves, right? And we can guide ourselves right back into drug addiction. Because guess who got us here? Guess who got us into our addiction where we're at today? We did. So our decision-making skills are not top-notch. They're not good. We need help making decisions, okay? So what is this partner, accountability partner, or sponsor, or mentor? What are they supposed to do, right? Well, a sponsor is somebody who will work you through the 12 steps, okay? And their sole purpose is taking you through this 12 steps, okay? They're not your mama. They're not your daddy. They're not your relationship counselor. They are there to work you through the steps, okay? Okay. Now, a mentor or an accountability partner you guys can do whatever, actually, you can do more, I feel like. Um, with a mentor, you guys can work together one on one, right? Building your self confidence. So that's one of the first things that I did with my mentor was start working on my self confidence. Okay, and the self confidence for me that really helped me, and it has always helped me when I do this, was getting a full time job. Okay, so one thing about me is like I like to be gainfully employed. I like to, contribute to my family, and so when I get a job, I get promoted really, really quickly, almost right away. And that's important to me, right? So, one of the things that helped me in my early recovery was getting a job, okay? So, building self confidence, example, getting a job, okay? Now, when getting a job in early recovery, I know sometimes we don't have all the choices in the world because we might be felons, right? I'm a felon, so I understand. I found the most amazing job, and you guys could work this job too, working for Hallmark. My first job was at a sandwich shop called Nukes, and I was the salad girl, and I trained everybody in the kitchen on how to do the salad line, which was really, really complex because of how big their salads are and how busy they would get. But I got promoted really quickly to that job, and then 2 years later, I got a job at Hallmark, and I worked there for 3 years, and then I got the job I have now. Hallmark also was a great job. I was a merchandiser. I would drive my car from different stores, and I would set up displays in their stores, and it was perfect for somebody like me, right? The only thing I would say to people that are in early recovery about getting a job is to make sure that you allow time for you to be able to do your practices that you do in recovery, right? Like, don't go and get a job and work 70 hours a week where you can't get together with your mentor or sponsor, or you can't get to your therapy meetings or your meetings, right? Make sure that you get 25, 30 hours. So that way you can still do the things that you need to do for your recovery, okay? Okay. Another thing that I feel like helps build self-confidence, besides getting a job, is getting your spot where you live, right? In order, getting your spot in order, right? Like getting if you live with your parents, that's okay. Getting your little bedroom all organized and getting everything a place for where it is. Getting everything clean and everything straightened out. That way you feel good. Whenever you live in clutter, whenever it's unclean and cluttered and junked up, it makes you feel anxiety. It makes you feel depressed. And so in early recovery, having a nice, clean living quarters is going to help you to be successful, right? I'm telling you guys, 100%, okay? 100%. And I know you're probably thinking like, oh my God, why would I need to? It's important. It's important. All right. Now, if you're somebody who's not living with family and you're out on your own, and let's maybe say that, you've been living in this place for a really long time and it has all these really bad memories attached to it, like setting a goal of, I want to be able to move out of here into a new place in 6 months. Like, set an obtainable goal so that way you can have something to look forward to that's going to help you, Okay. Another really, really important thing that helped me the most in early recovery was therapy, okay? Now, I have no problem talking with people, but sometimes whenever I have to talk about my struggles and stuff, I get really, choked up about it, so it's hard for me to talk to, my therapist and stuff like that, or at least it was at first. But I went into my first meeting with my therapist counselor, and we got to know each other, and we got to talking, and I got so much out of our every other week visits. I got to process through a lot of things that I had done in my active addiction that I felt immense amounts of guilt and shame about. And I loved it. And I suggest going to therapy to every single person. If you're not in therapy, you need to be in therapy 100%. If you had a drug addiction, you need to be in therapy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay? Like, absolutely 100%. You will thank me in the long run. I got my mental health evaluated 6 months after I got sober, right? And then I got it evaluated again at 2 years, and then again at like 3 or 4 years. And then again this last year. So because over the time that you stay sober, you're changing, right? You have been using drugs for so many years that your brain, when it starts healing, it's different things start happening, right? You could go from being this like wild, crazy person to being like really calm and laid back and easygoing when you get sober. Like, a lot of people change, you know. That was one of the biggest fears I had, was that I was going to change, or my husband was going to change, and he wasn't going to love me anymore, you know. But I changed for the better, and so will you. I just know you will. Okay, so therapy, check. And like I said, I did it twice a month, and that was just the right amount for me. And you can do as many times as you want, whatever works for you, you know. Another thing that helped me when I was in early recovery was having a group of women that I could talk to about anything that I was going through, okay? And if you're a man, I would suggest, you know, you get in with a group of men. But what I did was I went onto Facebook and I was on my YouTube channel, and I let the girls know that I was going to be starting a women's meeting, right? A women's group. And so I let them know, hey, ladies, let's have meetings every morning where we read the Just for Today meditation, okay? And then we discuss it. And so what happened was, all these women who wanted to join met me over on Facebook, all right? And I started a group, hey Cherish, what's up? I started a group chat, right? So all of us women would go over there in the mornings, and at 10 a.m. we would all sign on, pull up our video chats, and we would all be on video. There was like 10 girls, and I would read the Just for Today, okay? And then they would go. I would share what I got out of the Just for Today. Then Cherish would share. Then Don't Touch the Morgan Letters would share. Like, and so on and so forth, right? Until we got all the way around the circle of women that were there. And so you don't have to go to like an AA or NA women's only meeting. You can start your own little group. A tight-knit, sober ladies that you guys can connect with each other once a day, and just to watch and see, you guys, how amazing it is and how much you will get out of that. I know I did. I still get a lot out of doing those kind of things, right? The more people that I had in my life in early recovery that understand what I was going through, that I had access to talking to, the better, okay? Because, see, one of the things that we do when we're in active addiction, so the opposite of addiction is what? Connection, right? And so when we're in active addiction, a lot of the times we might be hanging out with all these people, right? But we're on drugs. So we're not truly present, right? We're not truly present. We're doing things that we're not supposed to be doing, and we're not really connecting with people. When we get sober, we're able to connect with people on a different kind of level. And so, you know, you might have had all the friends in the world when you were in active addiction, but it's not the same from when you're sober and have friends, you know? P2P, SHRM. All I know about P2P is that whenever I was using drugs, they would dip cigarettes in some kind of embalming fluid or something like that. Hey, Raquel. And we would smoke them, and they make you trip. And so it's really bad for you. You can actually get stuck in the trip and not come back. I have actually watched a true crime video of a woman who stuck her baby in the microwave on that shit. So, okay, so the group of women or the group of men. Now, if you're a gay guy, I think, a lot of gay guys feel more comfortable with women. So being with women in a group is completely fine. Okay. There are exceptions to the rule. Do you know what I'm saying? As long as that group of women doesn't mind you being there, then that's okay too. All right. All right. Okay. The next thing that helped me in my early recovery was literature. Okay. Literature. Reading books about the disease of addiction. Okay. I just bought this one recently. Understanding and Helping an Addict. Okay. So one of the things that I knew I wanted to do was I wanted to learn everything I could about addiction. Because guess what? Knowledge is power, okay? So if you have a disease, wouldn't you want to learn everything about that disease that you could, so that way you could help fight it, right? If you had cancer, lung cancer, leg cancer, wouldn't you want to research and find out everything about that so you could get the right medications or the right chemotherapy? Okay, it's just, if you came down with diabetes and you have to take insulin now, wouldn't you want to learn all about diabetes, about how ways you can maybe get your diabetes to go away and stuff like that? Oh, that's good. Good. Congratulations, honey. I said a lot of time. Good job. 1.5 years is great. So you learn. You learn. Okay. The first thing I learned about was why addiction is a disease. Okay. Then I started learning about the disease process, learning about how addiction affects our minds, where addiction is in our mind, right? Like what part of our brain it affects. And when I was learning these things, you guys, it helped me to understand, right? Because I used to think I was just a piece of shit person. I used to just think I was a piece of shit person and I deserved to get what I was getting and I was never going to be able to change, right? In recovery, I have learned that a lot of the decisions I made were because my brain was hijacked by drugs. That the person I am today, I would never do those things that I did in active addiction. I would never hurt my family. I would never use drugs while I was pregnant if I was sober, And so I learned a lot and it helped me. It helped me to, start researching addiction. It helped me to get connected with Dr. B because he's like a mentor to me and I can ask him anything. It helped me to get connected with other people in the recovery community. So reading literature, books, meditation books, the 12 and 12, just for today meditation, all these things, they're great things that you can do to help you stay sober. Okay. The next thing that helped me in early recovery was making content. Okay. I waited until I had 1 year sober and I went to my sponsor and I said, "Hey sponsor, can I share my story with the treatment center I graduated from?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to share my story there. It was the most amazing experience I ever had. And that's the day I decided I wanted to help more people. So I started my YouTube channel. Okay. That YouTube channel acted as a virtual diary for my life. I started out and I would just go live and I would take the camera around with me. I would wash dishes. I would make breakfast for Nate. And I just navigated my new sober life with the camera in front of me as a sense of accountability. And what ended up happening is people started subscribing. And the next thing I knew, I'm looking at almost 21,000 people who are helping me stay accountable. You know? And so it was a blessing. It was a blessing. Now, I will tell you this. I waited until I had a year because social media can be really, really brutal. Okay? Really, really brutal. And I don't think I could have taken a lot of the criticism that I got at the beginning if I hadn't waited a year. So that is something that I will tell you guys to be careful, because social media, people are brutal, and I don't want you to have a bad experience. I know, exactly. Exactly. It's the same thing with me and Dr. B in Austin. If I hadn't started my YouTube channel, Austin would have never found me, 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, and I would have never had my job with Dr. B. So I got emotional thinking about that the other day. I really did. Okay. So, service work is what I consider, like, okay, so making my content and doing these videos where we talk about recovery and I help you guys like navigate recovery, right? This is like service work to me. I love doing it. I enjoy it, right? Helping others is my service work, okay? And I enjoy the fuck out of it. And so once I started to get comfortable and realize, like, hey, I like being sober. Thanks, Ashley. I like being sober. This is kind of cool, right? I want to help other people get sober. Then I started getting into the groove of things, right? And I started really enjoying it. And now I just love it. It's like literally what I do every single day, all day. But I will tell you this. I take breaks and I fill my own cup, because I will tell you, working with addicts and alcoholics are some of the sweetest, most amazing people in the whole wide world. But they're also some of the most soul-sucking people in the world. And they will take and take and take and take and take, and not realize that they're harming, And so I had to learn how to set healthy boundaries with people, because I was going to run myself ragged if I didn't. Yeah, so, when I first started with my YouTube channel, right, I remember I had a sponsor through AA, and she thought that was just like not good, that we should be in a meeting in the town, right? And I sat down and I explained to her, I was like, listen, Jean, like, everybody is online. I was like, you don't understand all the thousands, if not millions of people that I reach in recovery by making content and putting it out there for it to be out there forever, right? And so I think the old timers of AA had like a really hard time with the social media situation. But honey, that's why I'm not a member of AA anymore. And I kind of disconnected from that, because I want to do more, and doing service work from my home, where I can connect with you guys online or on the phone, it's safer. I'm less likely to come into a situation where I'm around people that are using. I can still be at home with my son and be the mother that, I'm meant to be. I can still do my job from here because I work remotely. And so it really is amazing, and it helps me so much. But like I said, when I get burned out or I get tired, I take a break and I let people know, hey, I'm going to shut my phone off for 2 or 3 days, right? Tops. It's not like I take a whole week or anything like that, but I do take 2 days, off, and like just don't answer my phone, only text messages and stuff like that, So, service work. Bada bing, bada boom. Number 6 of what helped me navigate my early recovery. So whenever I first got sober, I felt like God hated me. I felt like God hated me and that He had abandoned me because of my addiction. And So I knew that I wanted to reestablish a relationship with God, but I didn't want to do it like my mom and dad had taught me in the Pentecostal church that we went to. After going to such a strict church where they tell you can't wear makeup or earrings or pants or anything like that, I didn't want to go into a physical church and connect with God. I knew that I could do it from the comfort of my own home, and I could worship my higher power here, and I didn't need to go into a building with a whole bunch of people with skirts on and all this to connect with my higher power, right? And so I started to establish a relationship with my higher power little by little by doing things like doing my prayers, and doing my prayers in the format of journal writing. Okay, so like busting out a notepad and writing my prayers down like I was talking to my friend, and little by little, you guys, I felt more and more of a connection with my higher power, which is God. And I'm not somebody who talks a whole bunch about, religion or anything like that, but it gave me a peace in my mind and my heart whenever I was able to connect with God again, because I've always been a person who was highly, highly, highly emotional and connected to God. I was saved at a very young age, okay? Like I said, I went to a Pentecostal church, so I was speaking in tongues at like 11 or 10 years old, And so having God in my life to support me and knowing that He was there, is really important to me. And I see Him in my life everywhere I go. I see Him in the things that I do to help other people. I see Him in the situations that happen with me and my husband in our life, and how our life has went from rock bottom to on top of the world. Like I see how God is working in our lives to help my husband maintain his sobriety and stay, be a good worker at his job. I see because God provides so many different opportunities for me, and they're opportunities that I would never, ever had got before. And it's all because of my recovery and my connection with God. If I didn't have my recovery, I wouldn't have met Austin. I wouldn't have met Dr. B. I wouldn't have met Mr. Rick, who I'm taking the substance use disorder counseling courses from. I never would have met Isaac, the guy who owns those 4 treatment centers, who I started working with him on Monday, so that way I would have extra resources to help people, right? Like I wouldn't have met Recovery Delivered. I wouldn't have met Self Recovery and Dr. Hawkman and Dr. Dan and Terry and Robin. These are all people who I've met who are professionals who help addicts and alcoholics, and I feel like it's a blessing that I've been able to connect with these kind of people, because it gives me a line, it gives me a freaking straight line to what helps people get and stay sober, and I can help people access that, and I would have never had any of those opportunities if I hadn't started social media. So, I know a lot of people say bad things about being online, but social media helped save my life. Okay. So journaling my prayers was something that really helped me a lot. So if you are, struggling to reestablish your relationship with your higher power, doing something like, journaling your prayers, it'd be kind of cool. Okay. So what else? Let me think. So basically, here we go. So around 6 months sober is when I started to make amends to the people that I had harmed in my life. Now, the way I did it was I worked the 12 steps with my sponsor, and that's how I made my amends. I made 3 columns: a yes column, a no column, and a maybe column, which meant, yes, I'm going to make amends to this person. No, hell no, I'm not. And number 3 was maybe I will, right? And so I wrote down all the people that I was going to that I needed to make amends to, okay? And slowly but surely, God put those people in front of me. Okay, I did not call them. I did not go and seek them out. I let God arrange it, right? And let me tell you a story. So the girl who called CPS on me, she called CPS on me. We were best friends. She was in the emergency room with me when I was giving birth to my son. Like, I trusted her, right? I trusted her. Well, she called CPS on me. Hey, what's up, Content Noggin? And that's what pushed me into getting sober, because CPS took my son. But after I got out of treatment, I knew she had called them on me, and I never talked to her again. Well, I was in my job at Kroger about 3 years into my sobriety, and I was sitting there stacking cards, and I looked up, and I seen her far away from me, and she was waving to me, and she started crying, and I was like, this is it. She's coming over here. And I used to always say if I ever saw her in public, I would punch her in her face and kick her in the teeth, right? And me and my husband used to flip her off every time we would drive by if we saw her in her car, and everything. I used to dream about driving my car through a brick wall, through her house. So when she seen me, she came over and she was crying, and she said she was about to say something, and I said, I forgive you. I forgive you, and thank you, because now I have my son back, and I've had him back for 3 years, and there's nothing that could ever get him taken away from me. I know that you called CPS on me, but I forgive you. And that's when she started lying to me. No, I didn't. I was like, it's okay. I know you did, but I forgive you. Long story short, that day, I let go of that resentment, and I forgave her, and I walked away from that experience with a weight lifted off my chest, right? A weight lifted off my chest. Well, 3.5 more years passed, and I had 6.5 years sober. And I'm sitting here chilling. I think I was on a live stream, and I got a phone call, and it was her calling my cell phone. And I was like, hey, girl, what's up? And she was like, hey, I just wanted to tell you, I was the one who called CPS on you. And I said, I know. And she said, I know you know. And I said, thank you, though, for telling me, because I just wanted closure, and I just wanted to hear you say the truth, that you did call them, because I already knew you did, And at 6.5 years sober, I got to have the closure that I needed. And so that amends list that I had, the ones that I said I would never make amends to, they moved to the maybe, and then the maybe moved to the yes, and I went through and I made all my amends. And God placed every single one of those people in my pathway. I didn't go and find Robert, my ex-boyfriend, and tell him I was sorry. God put him in my pathway. Okay, it was crazy. So it was really, really awesome. I got to make amends to my mom and dad, my mother-in-law, my husband, my son, and a lot of the amends that I make are living amends that I practice every day still, Yes, absolutely, Noggin, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of that I want to tell you guys about that helped me when I was in early recovery. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'll tell you some things that I wish I had done in early recovery. I wish that I had gotten into the gym and started working out. Okay? So one of the things that a lot of us drug addicts and alcoholics will struggle with whenever we get sober is cross addiction. And so some people cross addict to working out in the gym. Some people cross addict to overeating food. That would be me. Some people get on steroids and start pumping iron and become addicted to steroids. A lot of different people have, cross addiction situations. So because I didn't actively work on my physical health in my early recovery, I experienced massive amounts of weight gain and got extremely depressed. Okay? So one of the things that I want you guys to know, and I really, really hope that y'all listen to me, is to get yourself into some kind of workout program that you do, right? It could be something that you do on your own that you made up. It doesn't have to be like you're going Peloton bicycle riding, right? It could be that you wake up every morning and you go for a 2-mile walk or jog, and that's how you get your day started, right? Or you could set up your YouTube channel in your room and watch the girls who do the choreography workouts and do it with them in your house, right? Doing that for your physical health and that when you're in early recovery is crucial. And you'll thank me in the long run for doing it. Because you do that physical health stuff, it's going to help your mental health. It's going to help your mental health. Absolutely 100%. So, I hope the things that I shared with you today help you guys. Excuse me. I know that navigating recovery, especially when you're brand new, can be like really scary and overwhelming. But if you do the things that I tell you to do in this little video that I made today, I promise you that you'll be successful. You'll be successful. Hey, Christina, almost 8 years, 7.5 years. And, basically, like, all you got to do is just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And if you stumble a little bit, instead of focusing on the fact that you stumbled, focus on all the positive things that you've been able to do and change in your recovery path, in your recovery journey. Okay? So a lot of times when we struggle with our addictions, we will feel like immense amounts of guilt and shame, right? Well, that's not conducive to your sobriety, right? Hey, that's awesome, Christina. Good job. Focusing on, your mistakes for too long can be like a very negative experience for you. And it can bring you down in a deep, depressing hole. So instead of, what you can do is, if you slip and fall, if you have a lapse, you can look at that lapse, analyze it, see where you went wrong, learn from it, and then keep it moving. Keep it moving, right? Focusing too much on some mistake that you made, it can end up bringing you down and making you depressed, making you feel worthless, right? And so whenever somebody that I'm working with, has a lapse, we don't change their time, okay? We don't start our time over because we didn't lose no time. We lost 1 day? Oh, okay. Out of 365 days in a year? So you're going to tell me that because you went out and you smoked a joint or had a beer or a glass of wine or you tooted a line of cocaine out of the 4 years that you've been sober, one time you're going to go and you're going to start, fuck that bullshit. Fuck that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why that shaming, that is why so many people struggle. Because these old style ways of thinking have been taught to us from the abstinence 12-step community. And I'm going to tell you, they're detrimental to a lot of people's sobriety, the way that things are taught, right? Just think about how stupid that is. Think about it. It's kind of like this, and I used to do it all the time. It's kind of like this, like you're on a diet, right? You're trying to make a lifestyle change and you're trying to get that weight off of you. And you've been doing good all week, and on Thursday, you have a binge, and you eat 7 pieces of cheese pizza with extra cheese, and you are feeling horrible the next day. Are you going to throw away that whole week, that whole 6 months that you've been working on your weight and losing weight because of that one day that you ate 7 pieces of cheese pizza? You're gonna literally just stop and go back to your old self and eat and eat and eat. When you can literally get on the scale the next day and you might gain a pound or half a pound. That is it. Like I said, it didn't throw away all your recovery. It didn't throw away all of your progress. Okay? And so, don't beat yourself up. That's what I say. Let me think what else I want to tell y'all before I go. Recovery is not linear. There's a lot of bumps and mountains and curves and all kinds of different roundabouts. Sure, Christina, what's up? So everybody's experience with recovery is going to be different. People are going to go to different kinds of programs. People are going to, believe different beliefs. But all you got to do is what works for you, right? If that means medication-assisted treatment, if that means abstinence, if that means Cali sober, then just do what works for you, right? For me, recovery is gaining back what I lost in my active addiction, being able to be a mother to my son, being able to maintain sobriety and live with my husband and my son and be a mom, right? Being sober to me is having a full-time job and paying my bills. Being sober to me is having a car that actually has gas in it and no donuts on the tires. Being sober to me is having a relationship back with my family and my parents are proud of me and actually want me to come around. Being sober to me is having money in the bank, saved. I have been having nightmares that I've relapsed. I've heard that's normal. Did you have those and how long? Heck yeah, I had them. I still have some every now and then. It depends on if I watch something or I eat too late at night. But using dreams, right? They're totally normal. What have you been doing? Are you under a lot of stress? Have you been eating a lot at night before you go to bed? Have you been watching any content online that shows people using drugs? Because that can also be like a trigger. I used to do that really bad. I used to watch Intervention at night and then lay down and fucking dream about shooting up. Stupid. Yeah, so when you go to bed like that on a full stomach, you're going to have dreams. It's just like something that happens. I don't know why, but it does. And so stop eating before you go to bed. The latest time that you should eat is 6 p.m. Okay? 6 p.m. and then shut it off. That's how I gained like 75 pounds in my recovery, was from eating at night. And it's the hardest thing to do to get yourself back on track. And I'll tell you this, I had said this during our little show here that I've been doing today, is one of the things that I tell people that are in early recovery is get yourself in a routine of taking care of yourself. Start working out. Start drinking water. You need exercise. That should be a part of your daily routine, 100%. Even if it's just going for a walk in the morning for a couple of hours, or just doing a workout show on TV and doing the workout for an hour. Once a day for an hour, do some cardio, get your heartbeat pumping. That way you don't end up like me, okay, binging every night. And then one day you wake up and it's 2020 and you're fat as fuck, okay? Because then you're going to get depressed and you're going to feel overwhelmed, and that can be a trigger for a relapse. And so a lot of us women struggle with this, and that's why it's really hard to adapt healthy habits whenever you have been living a life that's not healthy for so long. Believe me, I'm literally preaching to the choir, okay? I've been telling myself all this week that I need to get my ass down to the gym. I live in an apartment complex that has a gym, right? I have access to a gym. I can work out every morning. Okay, so I'm making that my goal for next week, that I'm going to work out in my gym Monday through Friday, and I'm going to tape it, vlog it, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel to stay accountable. Even if I just get on the bike and ride those bikes or do the treadmill, at least I'll be doing something, right? Doing something. I'm going to take Nate down there with me. Oh no, he'll be back at school tomorrow or next week, but he'll be back at school. That's good though. So I can actually go in there and work out and actually get a workout, and sweat, because I won't have to be, paying attention to him. But that's what I'm going to do, and that's something that I'm going to challenge myself to continue doing, because I want to set a good example for people in recovery, right? But I'll always tell you guys my mistakes, and that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made in early recovery, was not taking care of my physical health. Okay, so I know it's a lot, you guys, all the things that I just shared with you, and Like, you don't have to do everything all at one time, right? But just start your journey off and start incorporating these healthy things that can help you in your recovery. I promise you, if you do, you'll be successful. I promise. And then tomorrow night at 7 Central, we're going to talk about relapse prevention. So if you guys want to come and hang out with me, I'll be live here at 7 Central, and I'll be live at 11 tomorrow morning on Facebook. And that's, my link is in my bio. But tomorrow on Facebook, we're going to be talking about how to help your addicted loved one. So if you have a loved one who's struggling with addiction and you've been struggling to figure out what to do, that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be reading out of this book, Understanding and Helping an Addict and Keeping Your Sanity. So if you don't follow me on Facebook, go ahead and get your ass on over there, okay? So I really hope you guys enjoyed this live stream and hanging out with me. I love you guys really a lot, and you guys help me stay accountable, like I said. Oh my God, that's so cute. Thanks, Gracie. You guys help me stay accountable. This is like like I said, my virtual diary, right? And if you missed the live stream and you didn't get to watch it, this one right here, I am going to download it and put it on my YouTube channel. So just go to my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio, and look up how to navigate recovery. That will be the title of the video. Okay? All right, you guys. Good night. Thank you.